Hey guys, it's Aaron from Renpart. Today in the shop, or tonight in the shop, we have something a little different on the rack. And of course, that car back there, that's a little different too from what I'm used to. And just wanted to go over a couple of quick things that have completed and am doing to this 2005 Lotus Elise. The owner bought this car. I believe it's actually a salvage title. The front clamshell was hit, from what he described to me, maybe by like a tow hitch, and that was enough to total the car. If you can see here, the whole under panel of this car is actually mint. So whatever was done to salvage this was probably before the values went up, and I think he got a pretty good deal on it, and he has a great, fun car. These are great little cars. It's the first car I ever tracked. I know I'm spoiled, but back in 2008 and 9, you could pick these up pretty reasonably, and they're a whole lot of fun. Not a lot of power. I believe they're rated at 190 horsepower. They have a Toyota Celica GTS 2ZZ GE. I'm sure someone will correct me, and they're just great fun. They're so light. There's nothing else like it. So what I did to this car is we put a, believe it's called a G-Pan. I think they're on like the 3rd generation by a company, used to be Sector 111, but I believe it's now Innokinetic. I'm not sure. Shanu Mapleton, that's all you need to know. He's the guy. If you have one of these cars, give him a call. He knows these cars inside and out. I know them somewhat well, but Shanu is the guy who is still making new parts for these cars and making them better than ever. So we put on this baffled oil pan. The customer wants to go to the track, and there's 2 things that you really need to address on this car if you're going to go to the track, and even spirited driving, or if you just want to be safe. So the factory pan, I'll show you over here, is probably out of the Celica. I'm not sure, but it is not baffled. Sorry, showing you the trash can. It is not baffled in any way. So you start taking some high G turns, some long sweepers, and you will get oil starvation. So basically, the process is unbolt the pan. There's a factory pry. You can see where I bent the factory pan because it's so flimsy, really. And I don't ever really remember there being this much sealant on any other factory pan, but maybe this pan was off for another reason at some point. This car has 50,000 miles. So you drop the bolts, it will drain the oil, drop the bolts, drop the pan. Then you want to, the kit comes with all the instructions. It's pretty straightforward. You take out the factory studs because the new pan actually has a pretty nice thick flange on it. Let's see if I can get you a better side view of this. As you can see, that factory one was just a thin piece of sheet metal. So you have to put in a couple of new studs, which really just help line up the pan. You blow the pan out. There's some machining stuff in there. Obviously, that wouldn't be good. Clean the surfaces, scrape off all the old gasket maker, test fit the windage tray in this new pan, which you have to put some thread locker on and lock that windage tray down. It has some adjustability just in case you can't fit it in there. So that's what that's for. Put the pan up, put some RTV on it, torque these bolts down to 9 foot-pounds, and let it dry overnight. So we've got that pan on. That's good to go. We're gonna let it dry overnight here. And the second thing you need to do to these cars, if you're going to the track, or really, I just think it's good to do in general. So this factory, let me see if I can get my light. I thought this car was aluminum, but apparently there is some steel in it. I think they weigh right around 2,000 pounds. So this is the factory toe link here. And these toe links are notorious for busting. I don't know if they bust at the joint, or I would assume at the joint on the track. Whenever you're under high G, this breaks, your toe goes way out. It usually takes out this expensive clamshell in the process. So the solution to that is to put in a heavy-duty toe links, which I have here, courtesy of the customer. And toe link upgrade kit. I assume these also came from Shanu. You can see them here. They're heavy-duty. Come with new bolts. And I assume there's also some heavy-duty tie rod ends in here. Oh, yeah. So we'll get these put in. What we will do is I'll recommend an alignment to this customer. but to get the car drivable, at least to the alignment shop, we'll go ahead and pull these toe links off, get the wheels off, pop these toe links out, get a good measurement on them, as close as you can get. You can never measure these perfectly since they're jointed here at the end. And put together those new toe links, measure them up, get them in, get the car to the customer, get it aligned, and he should be good to go on the track. He also said he has a second set of wheels with some stickier tires. So hopefully he'll have a lot of fun. These cars are great. I think that they're really one of the last true driver's cars. They're just so light. There's nothing else like it. There's no power steering, but you really don't need that. There's no, they're really a no-frills car. I think they have heat and air conditioning. I daily drove one of these things for a year, an 06 Exige that I had. And I remember the heat never worked that great. I would just kind of freeze. It kind of worked, but not really. I just wore a jacket and bundled up in the car. I drove mine all the way down to Key West from where I am in North Carolina here. That was when I was younger. I don't know if I'd recommend that. There's no cruise control. They are comfortable though. Surprisingly, they're very comfortable once you get in them. They are hard to get in and out of. The tops do come off. I'm sure you guys have seen a Lotus before, but the tops come off. That makes it a lot easier to get in. This one has a hard top on it. They have an option for the soft top on the Elise, which also fits the Exige. It just looks funny. They're just great little cars. Great little British cars with a Toyota motor. They're a whole lot of fun. If you ever get a chance to drive one, I would highly recommend it. There is nothing else like it. And even the Evoras drive nice. They're a bit bigger, a bit more refined. I had one of those as well. They're a different animal. The automatic in those, which I don't know if it's still the same, is actually a Toyota, I assume Camry automatic transmission. So the IPS, I think they call it. I don't know if I'd recommend that one. I would get a manual. I had an IPS because at the time they were discounting them. I think it was a $100,000 sticker. I got it for $70,000 at the time. It was like a 2014. But they're great cars, and they're a great alternative. Something that you'll never really see on the road. At least not many of them. It looks exotic. Looks like $1 million, but just a fun little car. I would say it's like a Miata, except it's not. I mean, I don't really have much else to compare it to. Kind of like a Boxster Spider, but gives you that great British, fiberglass bodied, parts bin kind of feeling, but not really, because they're just such special cars to me, especially. I love these little cars. They're great. They've gone up in value like crazy. So if you can pick one of these up, I would highly recommend it. So next on the chopping block after this, we'll be doing some work to this C5 Z06 that belongs to the owner of K&S Brakes, a company I also work for. So if you need any track pads or rotors, feel free to drop me a line. We'll get you hooked up. And this C5 Z06, we are turning into a spec Corvette. So really we're just unmodding it more than anything else. It had a built, motor, so, and intake manifold. I don't know if it was built, cams and exhaust. I'm not sure what else he had done to it. So right now it's got the stock LS6 back in it, and still working out some of the wiring things and just getting it back to stock. We did put probably 50, 60 miles on track on it, the car as it sits, but it just needs a lot of minor things to get it ready. A lot of teething things. And whenever you build a car, there's just so much that goes into it that you never really know what you have to do. And then also we have this 997 here. That'll be going to get a cage April 24th of this year, 2023. And I still need to do some things to get it ready. I have to get this seat mounted up for the customer and see where he wants it. We are putting it on sliders. It'll make it easier to get in and out of. I've got to pull the dash out. I've got to gut the doors. None of that stuff's too hard. Get a racing steering wheel in there. I have all of those under, well, all of the fixings. I'm leaving the motor out for the cage builder. Just makes things easier. So that's a fun little project that I've also been working on here. It actually was a base Carrera, and we're putting a Carrera S motor. It's a 997.1. So this is a the 997.1 base is a 3.6. This is a S motor, so this is a 3.8 liter. So I've got this all prepped. It's pretty much ready to go in. I've got to pull the trans bushing out. I've got a HD bushing from Renline I'm going to put in there. That's on back order. I'm still waiting for. We did plugs and coils, water pump, thermostat. We did the AOS, which is in here. More just preventive maintenance stuff, really. We did do a underdrive pulley. I'm trying to think of what else we did. Of course, we did a flywheel and clutch, release bearing, and I think that's about it, really. Oh, rear main seal, of course, you always do that. And then we'll be putting a baffled oil pan on this as well before it goes back in. So that's it. Just wanted to give everyone a quick update of what's going on here. And if you have any comments or questions, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Good night.